Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
Welcome back to another episode. Today, the guiding force of wisdom or folly. What is folly? Foolishness, dumb stuff, stupid decisions. So we're going to dive into Proverbs 24 today, and we're going to read. Well, there's a couple verses here, but there's one verse specifically that I have highlighted as one of my favorites, and it's Proverbs 24 and verse number 2, I believe. I'm tripping. Verse number 3. By wisdom, a house is built, is what it says, and through understanding, it is established. By wisdom, a house is built, and through understanding, it is established. The guiding force of wisdom or folly, i.e. foolishness. So I was considering this topic today. You know, it's January, and, Proverbs is a very good place to start, like if you're really looking to do some things. And I had a question I had to ask myself, which was, am I being guided by wisdom, or do I allow myself to be guided by foolishness? And I'm going to tell you, I know, right, yesterday, how to manifest your dream life, all these things that I've been talking about, Joshua 1:8 principle. But then I had to look at just a little bit. See, because you could have, and I can have as much wisdom as I want. I could be, quoting the scriptures. I could be acting as if I'm living out the scriptures, and yet there's a small ounce of folly, foolishness that literally is sabotaging your whole life. Here's how I'm going to explain this. What you think about losing weight? I think everybody can understand this right here, losing weight. And with losing weight, I heard someone talking about this, and what they were saying is that, like, you could be on a decent program, but all it takes is just a little bit to mess it up. And I said to myself, wow, that's deep. See, foolishness, dumb decisions, bad moves, whatever you want to call them, all it takes is just a few of them. It doesn't take many. And I said, man, so here it is. I want to manifest my dream life, right? Of course I want to do that. Like, who wouldn't want it? Of course I want to live out my name, prosperity, and money. Of course I want it. But how have I sabotaged all of that? See, it says by wisdom, or for wisdom, a house is built. By wisdom. So if we were going to build something, if I were going to build something, I'm in the process of building something. But here's the thing, you got to be actively building. Have you ever, went to a construction site and everybody's just standing around, looking around, and not necessarily doing anything? Like you've probably seen those before. But does that mean they're not doing anything? But let's just take it at its face value. If everyone's standing around not doing anything, is anything being built? Nope. But here's the thing. Just because they're on the site just means that they're in the manifestation process. Wisdom, the wisdom for the building happened way before they came to that workplace. So if we're talking about establishing wisdom in our life, then we have to establish wisdom way before we start doing anything. Way before. You want to do something. That means that we have to, this is scary here. We got to map it out. Like you got to see it. I was just telling a friend of mine, Maybe it was yesterday. Hey, it's easier to see it when you can see. It's like when you can see the problem, you see it clearer. When you can see, where you want to go, you see it clearer. When you can see exactly what has to be done, you see it clear. But what if you can't see it? Then where do you go? What do you do? It's just like driving down the highway, right? You're driving down the highway, you're looking for some place to go, but you're not too sure where I want to go. It's like I'm driving, right? And someone says, well, where are you going? I don't know. I'm just gonna get off anywhere. So how you know when to get off if you don't know exactly where you're going? See, wisdom is a driving force. But in today's age, foolishness is probably driving more lives than anything. All right. And how do I explain this? How do I prove this? Is this a fact, Jay? Is foolishness really driving most lives? I don't know. I can't tell you for sure because I'm not the one who carries all the wisdom. I'm not the one who can see all things. I'm a person who just maybe has tapped into a little bit of wisdom and a little bit of folly, foolishness. Here's some foolishness for you. You want to do something. You want to do something positive in your life. You want to accomplish something big in your life. You want to leave a legacy, right? You want to do these things. But yet when it's time to make these decisions to do something, you don't do them. I was actually brushing up on a book that I'd read a couple of years. I read it a couple of years ago, but I brought it back out because it's a really good book. And as I'm going through the book, decided I'd read it for the rest of the year. And one of the things in the book is that everybody who doesn't basically use wisdom is going to pay a tax. Right up my alley. It's going to pay the dumb tax is what he called it. And what's the dumb tax? The dumb tax is actually not thinking through decisions, which we can sum it up, not using wisdom when it comes to building our life, building our business, family, whatever it is that we're trying to build. So if I want to avoid the dumb tax, right? You don't avoid the dumb tax by actually saying, what, experience is the best teacher. No, experience is not the best teacher. That's just one that hurts more. The best teacher is when you can actually avoid the mistakes. See, folly, foolishness, dumb decisions come because we don't allow the wisdom into our life. By wisdom, it says, a house is built, and through understanding, it is established. So if we're going to build a house, if you're going to build anything, if you're going to lose weight, if you're going to build up your bank account, I'm going to build up my business, then I have to use wisdom first. And where's the wisdom? The wisdom is in the Bible. The wisdom is in the books that people have written. So it's like, where do I find the wisdom? A lot of people say, well, I'm not around the right people. You don't have to be around the right people. If you got access to a couple dollars, which most of us have access to a couple dollars, we take the couple dollars and we invest it into somebody else's wisdom. I mean, just imagine this. We have access to all the tools. We have access to all the, the programs and mentors. We have access to all these things. We don't use them. I was looking at some things, some, I won't call them bad decisions, but I will call them bad habits. I was looking at some bad habits that I actually have. I said, man, I got to break these habits. And I said, well, I have to take time to think, what are these habits giving me? What are they bringing towards me? Are they bringing me what I want? No, they're just, in some cases, it's just dopamine. You know what dopamine is? Dopamine is that feeling you get. It's like, maybe it's like scrolling on social media. I do that. I probably do it more than I used to. And I just decided this morning that I'm only, this is a rough one because anytime you have a habit, you have to really figure out how to break it. So I have to break the habit of scrolling on social media. And how do I do that? Why do I go on social media would be what am I going there for? Sometimes you're just going there to scroll. So now I know that I have to post. I post this every day, which actually, I post this every day. So I know how to do this. And then second, I know that I post when I finished my push-ups. So I know that I do that. So what I'll do is this. I'm going to post this and get off. I'm going to post my push-ups and get off. Now, here's the thing. So the next day when I come back and post again, more than likely there's going to be some people. I'll respond then, but not any other times. Because if I want to get into this wisdom and master my emotions, master my habits, master the things that I'm doing, then I've got to become aware of that. You've got to I have to really think about what is it bringing me. And if it's not bringing me what I want, look, guys, look, at the end of the day, wisdom is easy to find, right? We can go into the Bible, we can find it, we can read it all through Proverbs, all wisdom. Jim Rohn used to say this, it's easy to do it, and it's also easy not to do it. So it's easy to get the wisdom, but it's also easy not to apply it. So if we're going to apply wisdom today and avoid folly, the first thing we have to do is this. We're going to have to become aware of the folly that's in our life. What is folly? Foolishness. I don't know what your foolishness is. I know what mine is, right? I know what I want. So you're going to weigh out, what are the things that I want? What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? Or sometimes a lot of people have a hard time with what I want. So what is it that I don't want? Come on, use that list. Most people can easily find what they don't want. I asked somebody a question. Wow, it blew my mind. I was on the phone with somebody last week, and I asked them, well, tell me about what you want. Do you know? They avoided that question and told me all about the problems that they were having. And I said to myself, that wasn't even a question I asked. I asked about what is it that you want, and they told me all the stuff they didn't want. So people can find the things that they don't want so much faster. So if we're going to get rid of folly, if we're going to get rid of foolishness, if we're going to get rid of wasted time, that's the one right there. That's like a whole series of podcasts on time. If we want to get rid of wasted time or time misuse, I won't even call it wasted, misuse time. How about that? Is that better? If we get rid of misuse time, how much more could we accomplish? Jay, is it all about accomplishing things? It's only about accomplishing things if you want to accomplish something. So if you want to accomplish something, then you can't waste time. Or you can't misuse time, right? We don't want time to get the best of us. It's not like a person says, I don't have any time. Well, if we audit the time, it's funny, right? I was talking to somebody, maybe it was about a year ago, and we started auditing their time because they were saying they didn't have any time. And do you know I found all kind of time? They were spending hours, multiple hours a day watching TV. I said, oh, I was like, but they had to decide. Here's what they did. They decided they wasn't going to give it up. I was like, hey, it's not my problem. They're the ones that have to deal with that. And it was an interesting conversation. It was like, I'm not giving that up they gave me all the becauses, and I was just like, hey, this is your life. I'm just here as a conduit, somebody that could potentially help you with what you said you wanted. So, as we close today, the guiding force of wisdom or folly? In the text, by wisdom, a house is built, and through understanding, it is established. What do we need to know about the folly in our life? I think at the end of the day, the folly is kind of like what you don't want. I think it may be easier to find the folly, the foolishness that we do. So if we can find that, we can find the folly, the foolishness, the dumb stuff, the bad, at least the decisions we think may not be great, the misuse of time. We can find those things out. And then we can use the understanding that we get from that. Oh, we're ready. We're ready to apply wisdom. Not before. That's when we're ready. We're ready to apply wisdom at that point. Now that we understand the folly in our life, then we can see the path and say, you know what? I don't want this. So if I don't want this, then this is probably what I want. Guys, life is precious, and we all have an opportunity to live it to the fullest. Unfortunately, we just don't know how to manage it. So we're going to account for our life today by allowing ourselves to become more aware of the folly in our lives so that we can then point ourselves in the direction of wisdom. So guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the I AFYL Podcast. Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.